Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Pinups and Pinfalls. I'm Kira,
I'm Talise.
and today we are going to do a quick soft recap on Wrestle Kingdom 14, New Japan Wrestling. And we would like to just touch on a few of the matches, a few highlights that we thought were either amazing or shocking, surprising. And of course, it was very entertaining, and we just really wanted to express, our, aftermath reactions.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So do you want to dive right in here?
Yeah, let's dive right in.
Okay, I think the first match we're going to talk about, we're going to kind of skip the first couple matches, even though they were really, really good and solid as always. Wrestle Kingdom cards are notoriously ridiculously stacked. I've never seen a bad Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know that I've ever seen a bad New Japan pay-per-view. But we're going to start with the Guerrillas of Destiny versus FinJuice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For the tag championship.
Absolutely. One of the big things that I wanted to point out is Juice, is one of those charismatic characters. He's very, got loud colors. He's always, excitable, and he's got that high energy. So,
I have tweeted several times that Juice Robinson's ring gear is my spirit animal because he is always just very colorful and bright and shiny, and he's just got so much going on all the time, and it's fantastic. It's very over the top, and I love it.
I kind of felt like, Finlay was taking a page out of his book tonight, because he had really high energy and he was getting really into the match. And I felt like it was a true partnership because there were at times when, they were, really getting, with the pin attempts, and they were like diving in to get a save attempt before, they hit 3. I really like that aspect about this match. The one thing I really wanted to touch on was, of course, after Juice and Finlay made their entrance and got into the ring, Tama and coming down the ring, and then all of a sudden you see Juice and Finlay just started right there on the ramp.
Getting to town. And GOD.
I was like,
and they, of course, were being slimy as ever.
Oh gosh.
And just really brutal. And I think they do that very, very well. They're very strong, and they always come across very menacing, and
they're like the polar opposites when you see Juice and Finlay. It was a really good matchup. I know how the rosters usually are, but it was a really good matchup. In all honesty, I felt like talent was pretty good and equal. Of course, I'm going to side a little bit more heavily with Juice and Finlay.
Right. What I was going to say about the Guerrillas of Destiny, they show no mercy. That's kind of what my point was going to be. They go for the throat a lot, figuratively, yes. And just really target someone and try to wear them down through whatever means necessary, whether that be interference or bending the rules, however they choose to.
Yep. I mean, but
my mom absolutely cannot stand the Guerrillas of Destiny. My mom watches New Japan Wrestling and with my stepdad, and she totally buys into the heel characters.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably touch on it again at a later when we talk about another match. But she has
the true hatred will show.
Yeah, she has talked specifically about them always using chairs and always low blowing people and always having people interfere. She's like, why can't they just fight fair? They're the only two in the match. They need to keep it that way. They're not supposed to use I mean, she just totally buys into all of that.
Yep.
And it really upsets her. And Guerrillas of Destiny specifically, she has mentioned not liking at all because they are just so, slimy and opportunistic at every turn to take matters into their own hands and not follow the rules of the ring.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I guess, we both can agree that we were very happy to see that Juice and Finley walked away with the tag team heavyweight.
I love Juice
belts.
Robinson. We got to see him and David Finley actually
Yeah.
wrestle when we went to the New Japan show in Nashville back in February of last year already. And I kind of came undone when Juice came out, because I'm a big fan of his. I was a big fan of his when he was in NXT, and then seeing him now in New Japan just absolutely thriving, and making a huge name for himself over there it's really nice to see that, considering where he was when he was in NXT.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good when you see growth on the ones that you really want to see grow. So
do you want to go to the next?
The next one, we may have a lot to say about this match. I know it's just going to be a soft recap, but I mean, hey, it's two people we love. We've got Jon Moxley and we have
Lance Archer.
Murder
Hawk.
I mean, come on. I mean, you see Archer stand up, you want to run. I mean, he's not a small man.
He is not. He's another one.
He's another one we saw in Tennessee.
We got to see him in Tennessee. He had a match, and we actually got to meet him.
He was selling his own merch.
He was
at the table.
He was at the merch table, kind of manning the merch. And I bought a towel, and he signed it for me.
She said she wanted something, and I was like, well, definitely going to make sure you get something.
But it was back when he was part of the Killer Elite Squad, with Davey Boy Smith Jr. So he wasn't the Murder Hawk at that point, but we did, talk with him for just a couple minutes.
He is a very imposing man, because you wouldn't really know, but he, smiled and laughed the whole time he was sitting there talking with the fans and everyone coming up, and he was really affable.
He was really approachable.
Yes, absolutely. Like when you see, the bigger wrestlers, you're kind of like just, that first impression, that intimidation of, this person could probably break me over their knee if they wanted to.
Right.
But yeah, the match, it's like, you're like, come on, it's good talent. You got two heels and one ring, and you've got Moxley, who's all about being brutal, and then you've got Archer, who's on that same kind
about murdering everybody.
Yeah. So I mean, they're pretty much, in that standard placement. So I will have to honestly say, when Moxley came out, and of course not through the standard door, he had to go his own way and walk the maze in his time and fashion. But when he got to the ring, he started pulling out all the chairs from underneath the ring and was throwing them on. And I got excited because I thought, oh man, it's going to be another Moxley match. What's going to happen now? Who's going to walk away bloody and bruised and beaten, And I loved the match. I felt like the match, it had, really good move sets. It had really good entertainment value. There was a lot of really good back and forth, especially with Moxley screaming Archer. And I really liked it. But in all honesty, I felt like it was on the shorter end when we were watching the matches.
Yeah, I kind of wish the match was a little bit longer.
Honestly.
Absolutely. Just because I'm a huge fan of both of these guys. I've been a fan of Lance's for, a long time. And I think thanks to the G1 that he got to participate in as a singles competitor, I think so many other people got to see just what he can do. And that's kind of when the Murder Hawk character, I believe, was kind of formed. And, his tagline, "Everybody Dies," kind of came to be. So it's really exciting to get to see him flourish as a singles competitor and, the current U.S. champion.
Yeah.
Of course, we've talked already about how big of a fan of Moxley that we both are. So yeah, I kind of wish this match would have been a little bit longer.
Like drag him out of the ring.
Maybe a little more intense too. I don't know what it was kind of missing for me.
I guess we're so used to like just looking at the last, four big, three heavy hitter, matchups that he's had, they've been long and bloody and brutal.
Yep.
And
There
both
was
of them,
blood.
yeah. I felt like, though, most of the brutality wasn't at the level that I guess we're used to seeing for Moxley. I personally haven't seen anything a whole lot recent with Archer, so I can't really speak to what he's usually been doing. But with Moxley, at the end, when he put him through that table, I mean, Archer was down.
That was wicked.
He was down, and I was like, whoa, and then that's when I saw, the Moxley I'm used to. Like, he pushes that envelope, he's seeing how far he can take it.
Right.
And then I think he hit that mark because Archer didn't get back up, and
No,
he had
Moxley,
blood running everywhere.
Yeah,
and
now Moxley's the U.S. champion, which I was not. I had predicted that Lance was going to win. So I was wrong about that one, but it looks like here in just a few hours,
absolutely,
when night 2 starts, we will see Moxley have to defend that title pretty immediately against Juice Robinson. So yeah, that's my pick right there, though.
I'm telling you right now, I'm kind of on the fence, though, because it's either going to be Juice is going to walk away with 2 titles, or Moxley's going to walk away with 2 titles. But Moxley's gonna, is he gonna hang on to the belt for just 24 hours or?
Well, that also brings into question, what if he does retain?
Yeah.
How often will he
return
get to come back, and how is that going to work with his AEW schedule, and what does that mean kind of for the relationship? Because there's a lot of speculation swirling around about the relationship between New Japan and AEW, especially now that Wrestle Kingdom has people who are AEW wrestlers coming and performing at Wrestle Kingdom. And now you have an AEW wrestler who is a champion in New Japan. So that's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds.
But it wouldn't be the first time that we've had a champion not with New Japan, but a champion that's within AEW that isn't local. With Rio, she had prior contracts, so they might just have that exception with Moxley.
So do you want to talk about anything else about this match?
So let's talk and touch on. We have to touch on Naito. I really want to touch on.
You're skipping this one?
No.
Because next was Will Ospreay and Hiromu.
Oh yeah. I don't want to.
Junior heavyweight.
Yeah.
That match. Holy smokes! The more I think about it, the more, because I tweeted that the Okada Ibushi match was already a contender for match of the year, but I think this match between Will Ospreay and Hiromu Takahashi was insane.
Insane is one way to put it, but I mean, you've got somebody who has, like, he is exceptional talent, and he is known. Well,
both of them.
Well, absolutely, yes. But Hiromu, like, he's, loud and boisterous, and he's got, like, that really good bubbly personality and everything. So you've got somebody who's like that, but then you've got the flip side with Ospreay. So, yeah.
And he's just, Will Ospreay he's phenomenal. He has had just absolutely ridiculous year in wrestling. Last year he had Dave Meltzer, however you value his opinion, said to Will Ospreay that he had one of the best years in wrestling of any wrestler ever last year, because he was able to do all sorts of crazy matches. He was in, he's moving from a junior to heavyweight. So he's making that transition, and he's wrestling all of these different types of matches with different opponents while he's making that move up to the heavyweight division. So it's kind of unprecedented at this point to have somebody like Will Ospreay, having all of those matches.
And didn't somebody like CM Punk or somebody say something about best wrestler in the world or something?
He was responding to John Morrison, who has re-signed with WWE, and said that he was glad to be back in the promotion with the greatest wrestlers in the world. And CM Punk said Will Ospreay is actually wrestles in Japan. And I'm not 100% sure if that was CM Punk believing that Will Ospreay is the greatest wrestler in the world, or if he was taking shots at Seth Rollins, who has, tweeted that he wants to fight CM Punk. I'm not really sure where that tweet, what the motivation behind it is and the intent. But yeah, he did tweet that Will Ospreay he implied that he was the greatest wrestler in the world.
You know what? I wouldn't say that he wouldn't be close, because he definitely is a very talented wrestler, and he does bring a lot to the table. And New Japan should be, very happy to have him on their roster, in all honesty.
And he's one of those people. He takes. I really worry every time I see a Will Ospreay match, because I don't want to say he has reckless abandon for his body, but
it shows.
He really does take some crazy bumps. He puts his body through the ringer absolutely in every match that he's in. Same with Hiromu, who, is just back from recovering from having a broken neck.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
In which he finished the match with a broken neck and then, collapsed backstage, and then has been out for quite some time recovering from that. So this was a match that and Will Ospreay has a history of neck injuries and things like that. So when I watch this match, I'm watching very concerned, because they keep throwing themselves on their necks and taking all of these crazy bumps and things like that. So it's a match that I was so excited to see, but also very worried.
Yes.
And it's also been noted, I'm not really sure where people are getting the information or if it's been confirmed or anything, but there are rumors that Will Ospreay was actually injured in this match. So we will definitely keep our eyes on that, and if that does get confirmed.
Absolutely.
That would be a shame if he was injured again.
Yes. Speaking of injuries, the very next match, we've got the leader of the Bullet Club, Jay White, and we have Naito. Naito, not gonna lie, please
Leader
don't. Don't yell. Don't beat me up too much about pronunciation. I'm horrible.
She's new to Japan,
yes.
So this is really exciting, actually. Because I've never gotten to watch Wrestle Kingdom with you.
Last year was the first Wrestle Kingdom experience I ever had with New Japan.
So this has really been an exciting experience to kind of see Kira not really know a whole lot about the people in these matches,
and learning the names is hard.
Or that's why you have me. I'm here to help. And Google will help too. But getting to see her, kind of go into a match, not really knowing a whole lot, and just kind of watching. Yeah. But then toward the end, and that's one of the best things about New Japan and their ability to tell incredible stories in the ring. And then you have the commentary team, which Kevin Kelly, for my money, is the greatest commentator in wrestling today. He is absolutely phenomenal. I love his ability to link all of these histories together. He's very good at putting it in quick, succinct lines of dialogue, so you get a lot of history about the people who are having matches with one another in a very short amount of time. I think he is just absolutely tremendous. But it's real nice to see you getting so excited and so 100% invested in these matches, where going into it in the beginning, you really had,
I was like,
little to no clue.
What's the true background to these characters? Right. Yes, absolutely.
And, the Jay White Naito match, going back to my mom.
So this is where we learn of the hatred.
Jay White is someone that my mom, I was talking to my mom about New Japan and, how she was catching up on everything and what she had been seeing. And she hates Jay White with every fiber of her being. She will not watch matches that he is in. If she sees that he's going to be in a match,
TV's off.
She turns it off. She turns the TV off. My mom hates Jay White that much that she will not watch New Japan when he is having a match. She just gets so angry anytime he's on her television. So she will turn. She turns the TV off. She thinks he is just loathsome. But he's a phenomenal heel. I mean, if you listening to the crowd, anytime Jay would do anything, that crowd was just trying to boo him out of the building. I mean, it's absolutely incredible to see how far he has come as a character, as a wrestler. I just think he is fantastic. I wasn't completely on board with Jay White when he came back as the Switchblade. I didn't really get it. It took me, it took me a few months.
The necklace didn't give it away.
To get on board with. Well, I just didn't really buy into his character. I didn't think he was interesting. I thought he was kind of boring. And I wasn't really sold on his moveset, or I just didn't get it. I didn't really get his character. But then, a few months later, it kind of clicked with me. And now, going back and watching this match with him and Naito, I think he has grown so much. He's totally in sync with this character. And now that he is kind of leading the Bullet Club, I think it's interesting to me because when he was with Chaos, one of the things that he was, kind of at odds with Okada on was being in a group, period.
Yeah.
And taking orders and, things like that. And now to see him leading Bullet Club, it's interesting to me how all of that, kind of played out. But talking about the match specifically.
Oh, and just to really jump back to when Talise was saying, how I'm much newer with New Japan. There's going to be a few, familiar faces that I'll be like, hey, I've heard of them. Because of course, I'll hear Talise or my husband or our friends who are into wrestling talk about wrestlers from New Japan and who they're crazy about. And they'll go into a little bit of their, background and their character and stories and everything. But Naito, I kind of felt like, I didn't truly know him as a true heel because, as you see him coming out, he's got like that swagger and that bad boy grin. So it could go either way, because you've seen some really good heels and then they turn face, and you've had some really good faces, they turn heels. But I kind of felt like this was one of the more intense matches of the night. I have to say, for this match, I literally was like, in the beginning I was like, okay, this is really cool. But we got about 20 minutes in and I was like, okay, I have to cheat and look and see who won. I can't wait. I was like, my heart's racing. I was like, my stomach hurts because I don't know who I want to win, but I need to know because this is getting nuts.
Well, because this match has some pretty, it has a pretty heavy stipulation to it.
Yes.
Whoever won this match, it was for the Intercontinental Championship, which Jay White was the champion going into the match. Whoever won this match was then going to have a match on night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom against the winner of the Okada Ibushi match for the heavyweight championship, thereby making history in New Japan and them having a double champion. Someone is leaving Wrestle Kingdom as a double champion. And we find out, at the end of this match, after, gosh, what was it? 4 Destinos? 3?
Oh my gosh, so many. Like I was like, well, first off, that move looks completely tricky to pull off for me because you got to really, really, really trust who you're grabbing onto and doing a complete 180 on, the top of their torso.
It's my favorite finisher, along with the Eclipse by Ember Moon.
Oh, absolutely.
You never see in WWE. But yeah, Destino is my favorite finisher. I absolutely adore Naito. His moveset is so unique, and
I love his facial expressions.
Him as a character, he sucked me in right away when I got into New Japan, because he just has this air of indifference about him. If he's a champion, he'll drag the title, he'll throw it, he won't even bring it to the ring sometimes. I mean, he's one of those characters who he's not really after it. It doesn't seem like, but at the same time, that's kind of the journey that he takes himself on.
Oh, absolutely.
For these titles.
Yeah.
So I think he is such an interesting character, and just his tranquilo, that whole attitude that he has, to stay calm and not get too overworked or emotional. It's interesting to see that in a wrestler. So I enjoy him immensely, and he actually ends up winning. So
yay, he got it, which made it a whole lot more intense, because if Okada wins against Ibushi, then you get Naito and Okada against each other, which is like the matchup that has never happened before. So this is the first time matchup for them, and you get like their biggest heel and their biggest face matchup technically to New Japan. So very exciting. We're going to stop the video and we will continue this with part 2.
Okay, see you in a bit.
See you in a little bit, guys. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Pinups and Pinfalls. This is Kira.
And Talise.
And this is going to be part 2 of our Wrestle Kingdom 14. And the last bit we were discussing was the Naito and Jay White match. We left off with the discussion where I wanted to debate on if Naito was going to go up against Okada, depending on the Okada and Ibushi match. So when we go into this match, the first thing I really want to touch on is the Okada entrance.
Oh man, that entrance. I tweeted, throw every star in existence at it, because it was unreal. I mean, I was glued to the television, and he outdoes himself every single year. And this one was obviously the best one he's done so far. I loved it.
Yeah, I remember right even before the match, you said that you wanted to make sure you didn't see any spoilers, of course, because unfortunately, we did not stay up until 4 a.m. to start the match. So we watched it a little bit later on in the day. So we ended it about 2 hours ago. And when we were watching it, one of the things that when I saw Okada was coming out was that it was like a magic show. You know, it was, he had the lights and, the illusion of that he was controlling like basically the entire back wall of the stadium.
Right.
And the stadium itself is not small. It carries 55,000 people. There was 40,000 people in attendance for that show specifically.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about now the match?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So especially how long the match went on. I felt like the longer it went on, the more intense it got.
Right.
Because the one thing where I'm not really experienced in seeing these wrestlers, wrestle, I haven't been, 100% familiar with their rosters and their matchups. So seeing these two wrestlers together was an experience in itself. that, you can definitely see right from the start. They're very talented. They definitely have perfected it. And being able to see the little bit of the back clips of the storyline for these characters, these wrestlers throughout the entrances that they did. And Ibushi, was he the one who did the training, like on the beach? Like he didn't want to go to the wrestling school.
Oh, in the video package? Yeah, that was Ibushi.
So like, I like that he had such a passion for wrestling that even though he didn't feel like he was going to get formal training in wrestling, he still wanted to learn. But he wanted to learn, in his own measure. So I really loved that takeaway. And Okada, I mean, come on, it's Okada. Even I could tell he is a top tier wrestler.
He is arguably the best wrestler in the world.
I mean, you could definitely see that takeaway.
Everything he does is crisp, smooth. Picture Rocky on commentary was referring to something that he had done. It was probably a drop kick or something, that it was picture perfect technique. And, I tweeted that you could say that literally about anything Okada does, because everything he does, he's so consistent. He's on top of his game. He is a master of what he does. He sells phenomenally, and he is just able to tell these fantastic stories in the ring with whatever opponent he has, and just put on consistent matches every single time you see him wrestle.
And another aspect with Okada specifically is he's not a small man.
No, he's very tall.
He's very tall. He's got muscles. He's very built. And to see him move with that precision and that flexibility and having the timing completely on point, just shows how much he really studies, his movesets, how much, intensity and he shows, because he can be standing there and then boom, you see him in the next second literally looking at head level for Ibushi and kicking him right there in the perfect place. I felt like one of the things is when you see the bigger wrestlers, are they going to move clunky, or are they going to move like a well-oiled machine? So he moved very, very, very well. I felt like he knew the timing down pat. He knew the moveset. He knew how he wanted to go with his opponent. And, taking away from it, I really felt like from the beginning, I kind of was like, okay, Okada's got this. But then again, I'm a little jaded when it comes to Okada because my husband absolutely adores Okada. He, talks about him all the time. He loves New Japan, and Okada's always been, his number one slot. So, Okada was one of the wrestlers that I definitely knew a little bit about, that he is, that golden face of New Japan. And like you said, he is the wrestler for, that area. And he definitely expresses that in his performance and in his wrestling techniques.
And going back to people who love Okada, my mom, Okada is her absolute favorite wrestler. She has not been someone who's really watched wrestling a whole lot throughout the years. So, to see her get so attached to someone, and she watches New Japan as often as she can. And she just is his biggest, she is his biggest fan. It is so adorable to get to sit and have conversations with my mom about the G1 or about Wrestle Kingdom, or, just Okada in general. She's also a big fan of Tanahashi, who we will probably talk about later because he has a match just in a few hours. But she's just over the moon with him, and anytime she calls him her rainmaker, and she is just so excited about everything that he does, and she just thinks, that he is the greatest thing ever. And I just think it is the most adorable thing. And I, would love to have, because New Japan is coming back over to the States to do more tours and, more shows over here.
Come close to us.
And that is one hope that I have, is that they come close enough to where I can take my mom so she can maybe see Okada wrestle live, because I know that would make her world just so happy.
See, there you go. We've got goals. Get your mom and my husband there, and they'll be like 2 kids on Christmas.
Exactly. But, going back to talking about, I think I could talk all day about how perfectly executed Okada's moves are. He is just able to put his opponent in whatever situation he needs them to be in for the story that he's telling. And I think the story in this match was Ibushi's neck, and he was able to, there was one spot we were talking about where he did a German suplex.
Yeah.
And instead of Ibushi landing kind of on his shoulders, he landed like right on his neck.
Yeah.
And there were so many spots like that where we were like, is he okay?
Yeah,
we
not
legitimately
once.
thought he had fallen right on his head.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just speaks to how brilliant Okada is in the match, and how he is still able to take absolute care of his opponent while at the same time making us as viewers, through the story he's telling, think that they are actually out.
Yeah.
And just his, and I wanted to talk about the Rainmaker that Okada attempted to put on Ibushi, and then Ibushi countered it into his own Rainmaker.
Oh my gosh,
that was wicked. And that is one of the things I love about the Rainmaker as a finish. It is, it's really such a strong move.
Mm-hmm.
It can come at you from out of nowhere, and you just level your opponent when you hit it on them. So to be able to see it count, and I love it when wrestlers use their opponent's moves
against them.
Yes, I absolutely love that. So to see Ibushi use the Rainmaker on Okada was, we were screaming when that happened.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's like giving them a taste of their own medicine,
Mm-hmm. So this match was unbelievable from start to finish.
Yes.
It went about, I feel like it was about 45 minutes.
Yeah, 40 and 50 minutes, absolutely.
Which I'm totally okay with. Okada could wrestle all day long for all I care.
Yeah.
I'm fine with his matches being the length that they are, because he is just so incredibly talented.
Yeah.
And he can put on these really lengthy matches and tell these really intense stories, and get you fully invested in what is going on between the ropes.
And and also during the match, I do want to point out, Okada, he is just perfection in wrestling. But you could really tell with Ibushi that he was a man who had something to prove. He was coming in without, a belt around his waist. He is coming in from training himself, you got that assumption that yes, he'd been in the wrestling, industry, and he had everything, but you could tell he really wanted this match. And we could tell by his face at the end of the match, after many Rainmakers, that you can tell that it kind of just, it was taking a while for it to set in that
he had lost.
Yeah.
And that's not, and I know we've talked a lot about Okada's brilliance and just how talented he is. So that is not to take anything away from Ibushi, who is immensely talented and, should kind of be pushed to the moon because of how talented he is and how over he is with the crowd.
And how compassionate he is with his components. Like, come on, Okada literally right at the end, he pointed down at Ibushi and started clapping to the crowd and basically saying,
a huge sign of respect.
It's respect. And I want to see that more in American wrestling, and the U.S. industries. But, being able to just see any sportsmanship, with any, profession, it's amazing to see it, and it was very heartfelt that he knew Ibushi came in with, you know,
Oh, and
that fire, that
Yeah.
passion. He needed, you know, that takeaway, and the fact that he recognized that and wanted to still say, you know, hey, I may have retained my belt, but he gave it his all.
Yeah.
You know, he deserves this respect.
Mhm.
I love that. Like
Yeah.
that right there, a fan for life. You
Mhm.
know, you cannot, you know, you can't build that into somebody. They come with that, and that is amazing. And I
Mhm.
hope he inspires, you know, future wrestlers down the road to continue to do that as well.
Yeah. So the match does end with Okada retaining the title, which means we get Okada versus Naito for the historic
Double belt
match at Wrestle Kingdom, which is going to be, oh, man. And I already tweeted that Okada Ibushi is a contender for match of the year already. Because every Wrestle Kingdom has
Mhm.
at least one match. It was super early in the year that you're just like, wow, this is absolutely going to be a contender for match of the year, because they are just so solid at what they do. And, you know, like Okada has said, they provide the best wrestling in the world, and I'm inclined to agree with that.
I mean, come on, 4 days in, and I kind of feel like, whoo, how's everyone going to measure up?
Exactly. That's kind of the measuring stick. Is
there you go.
What comes out of Wrestle Kingdom. That is kind of how the rest of the year they look to that.
Yeah.
If they, you know, are looking to have substantial matches that, you know, have an impact.
Yeah.
At the end of the year. So in a few hours, we are going to get
to see Okada a lot of amazing matches, and you know, the Okada.
And we also get a match between Jay White and Ibushi at this point, because the people who did not win those titles to go on to, you know, try to make history.
Ibushi, I'm going to be rooting for you.
Yeah, me too. I'm sure my mom would if she would watch. But it's a Jay White match, so TV off.
Hey, hey, it's okay.
Yeah, I'll keep her posted.
There is a few other things that we want to touch on before we let you guys go for this episode. One thing we do want to touch on is with our channel, we do want to start unboxings. So one of the first unboxings we're going to do is a wrestling mystery box from I'll have to
WrestleCrate?
I'll tag the company. I can't think right off the top of my head, but it's a really awesome company. I've watched a lot of unboxing videos with my husband on this crate, and it's astounding what you get in it. So I went ahead and put in an order for one, and hopefully when we upload that video, you guys get to enjoy that excitement and surprise that you'll see from us. Another thing we want to do before we go is, again, please let us express a huge thank you for your continued support and helping us grow our brand with Pinups and Pinfalls, and that you guys are still there. You guys are still here. You guys are still watching.
Still watching our videos.
Still watching, still listening, still tweeting, still messaging. You know, and we take every comment, you know. We want that feedback, you know. We can only learn, you know, as we go on. And, you know, we just want to say thank you for going through this rough, bumpy beginning with the editing.
Anything else?
No, that's about it.
And I agree with what you're saying, and thank everybody again. It's been tremendous, the support that we've had thus far. I know we're our channel's not even a week old, but just the amount of support and advice and encouragement we've received has been really amazing. So thanks again.
Absolutely.
I'll thank you a million more times, but we're very thankful people.
Well, we hope you guys enjoy the next part with Wrestle Kingdom 14, and have a good night.
Yep. Good night. Bye.
Bye.